Bill, hi. Welcome again to the Kenya IT Week.
Thank you.
Excellent. And tell me, obviously second time around Kenya IT Week, what's been happening within the group over the past 12 months?
Yep. So in fact, the last 12 months have been an extremely busy one for the group. We have continued to roll out into new countries and also strengthen our presence in those countries that we are in. So that's pretty much business as usual, and frankly continue to grow and move into new markets. The major change, though, that's happened in really the last couple of months has been an investment into the group company, ISON Growth Markets, by Satya Capital. Satya Capital is the investment firm of Dr. Mo Ibrahim, and he, along with other founding members of Celtel, started Satya Capital. They're focused on Africa. They understand the market. They understand how to make businesses successful here. And so their injection into ISON Growth Markets has been a significant one. Obviously, we're looking for great things from that investment.
Absolutely. So obviously with the acquisition or the merger, I mean, how has it impacted on your business right now?
So the biggest immediate impact has been a follow-on investment from that, where ISON Growth Markets acquired Spanco Africa Limited and rebranded as ISON BPO. ISON BPO is really the fastest growing and most dynamic of the BPO players in the African market. We have about 4,500 people now total in Africa, and obviously it's the whole outsourcing BPO sector for us has a huge potential. We think it's only the surface is only getting scratched there, and really then the combination of the IT services, which is Mara ISON today, and ISON BPO is going to allow us to have an end-to-end service offering to customers in a number of sectors.
Okay, brilliant. It sounds amazing. And obviously, we're talking about the acquisition. What are your future plans, moving onwards?
Yep. So, as I said, we think that the surface is only just being scratched at the moment. So we see a huge amount of growth within the ICT tech sector generally. I guess the best way of saying it is we expect to move into more countries. We will move into more sectors. Today we are primarily telco focused, or have been primarily telco focused, and that's because the telco sector in Africa is moving ahead of a number of other industries. However, we see a lot of potential in financial services, retail, government sector in particular. Some of the meetings that we've had over the last couple of days here, particularly with government, are particularly encouraging. True. Now it's a matter of how can we apply, particularly with this end-to-end offering that we now have.
Okay, brilliant. So are there any specific, service offerings that you're focusing on, moving forward?
Well, so because the acquisition has only just taken place, and I guess there's a little period of time for us to work out the best ways for both groups to jointly address the market. From the IT services business, then that's business as usual. I mean, we see a lot of opportunities where across Africa, East Africa, where this conference is here, we have significant business in that. And that'll continue to grow on the BPO side. As I said earlier, the majority of business on day one was of the acquisition was out of the telco sector, similar to our services business. We're seeing a lot of interest from financial services companies. Government in particular is very interested to see how they can get involved. And it's a matter of us being able to bring in new business offerings, new services, and really shaping the way the industry is looking. We would expect significant growth over the next 12 to 24 months. All the indicators are green. The overall economy, sub-Saharan Africa, is looking up. Lots of multinationals focusing here, and some of the service offerings we're able to bring really add values to that. Really, what the governments are trying to do, what the multinationals are trying to do, and the business models that we're trying to bring in work hand in hand.
Okay, brilliant. And obviously, Africa is a very interesting market. More importantly, I mean, what are your views in the market?
Well, I think something that most people find very quickly when they move to Africa, and I know, I mean, you live here and whatever, but from an outsider's perspective, you can't treat it as just one continent. I mean, you need to understand that each country is very different. We've certainly found that over the last couple of years. It means that because we have a physical presence and we have a statutory compliant presence in each country that we're operating in, whether it's labour laws, whether it's what people in a particular country consider important, so the overall employer-employee relationship is different in each country and important to us across the board. Business is different, priorities are different. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing, that we are not dealing with a one approach to one continent. We're having to deal with, we're in sort of 18 African countries today, so we're having to take 18 different approaches into 18 markets and moving forward from there.
All right, that's brilliant. And do you have a specific market that you're focusing on right now? Is there a specific market that you want to move in right now?
So the DNA of really both companies is out of or focusing onto the telco sector or the communication sector, and we don't really see any slowdown of what's happening and what's being driven in Africa there. So that will continue. That will still be a significant part of our overall revenue. However, as I mentioned earlier, both government and financial services in particular are two areas that are now starting to move. There seems to be a lot of investment moving into those areas, consolidation of services. Frankly, as markets grow, people's aspirations change anyway, so even what they're expecting from their governments in terms of e-government services, there's the whole East Africa is very progressive in terms of e-payments. So to answer your question, communication is still going to be the prime generator for us of revenue. However, financial services and government are also going to be very significant over the next 2 years.
Excellent. No, that's brilliant. That's really brilliant. And obviously, second time around Kenya IT Week. Last year you attended as Morris and Hispanic separately.
Yep.
Have people viewed you now differently from last year?
Well, so to many people, this was really the first time they're hearing of the new entity, ISON. The response has been very, very positive. So all of a sudden, where people understand the commitment that we're making to the market, the investment that we're making in these markets. When you start talking about 4,000 plus people, Pan-Africa, but in Kenya, for example, we're about 450 people. So when you start talking about those numbers, you start talking about significant employment opportunities being created within markets. And I would say we had a warm welcome from government. People suddenly realise that we are on the map, how big we are, the investments we're making into the local community, and frankly very open to talking about how can we work closer, let's say, with the government to increase our investments and increase our presence in these markets much more than what we are.
Absolutely. All right, thank you very much, Bill, for your time, and we wish you